Hey everybody! So today we're going to talk some more about the Galactic Center, but specifically about the research that I've noticed when looking at all of the information from the people that have answered the questionnaire for the Galactic Center that we put on the subreddit, looking at their actual charts, pulling their charts to see what's going on. So before I start with this, I want to say my disclaimer, which is that I am literally just fucking with astrology here. I am not claiming that I am right or correct about any of this. I reserve the right to be wrong about any and all of this at any point in time. Nobody hold me to any of this. This is really just throwing some things out there and seeing what kind of fits, finding patterns, finding patterns and things, and trying to make sense of what the GC is, because it does feel to me to be very, very important. But it's, why is it important? You know, why do I feel like it's important? That's trying to break it down. I know this thing is important, but why is it? And how does it function? And how can it manifest in people's lives? And what are the best ways to utilize it utilize it for the good or in an easy way? I don't know. Like I said before, I don't know if the GC is ever easy, but how can you utilize it to your benefit, kind of thing? Those are the things that I'm really focused on trying to figure out. So today we're going to talk about the trines, the trines to the GC. Now, the trines originally in the questionnaire that people have answered, the trines were not anywhere on the questionnaire. Originally, our scope of focus was specifically on, was originally just on people that had just the conjunctions. Regardless of what else they had going on, we were just focused on the conjunctions. Then we added in people that have conjunctions, but they also have conjunctions to the galactic anti-center or oppositions to the GC. So there are questions on the questionnaire for each of those. but the conjunctions to the anti-center were only asked of people that also had a planet or the north or south node or Chiron or a major angle conjunct the GC as well. So all of this research has been taken. So everybody in the research has a planet conjunct the GC or the north or south node or Chiron or a major angle. That's the scope of what we were looking at originally. So the trines came into question later on down the line when I was looking up the GC in the sky and how they estimate that it's about two-thirds of the way from Earth, and the galactic anti-center is 1/3 of the way from Earth. Well, when you do the math with that and apply it to a natal chart, you're essentially looking at Earth being 2/3 of the way from the GC and 1/3 of the way from the galactic anti-center. So that would essentially make a trine aspect to the GC or a sextile aspect to the galactic anti-center. That's where Earth is. Now, when I say that, I am not saying that that's where Earth actually is in a natal chart. That's not what I mean. But that's not at all what I mean, so don't take it like that. But that's where the energy and all of that shit from the galactic center can come down to Earth, if you will. And I do think that the galactic center can manifest in a bunch of different ways, right? A bunch of different ways. I think it's one of these things that can really come out to play in a lot of different ways. So the trines started, and then I started looking at charts of like whistleblowers and conspiracy theorists and truth tellers, truth seekers. There's some other kinds of people that I want to look at next. But I was looking at these and I noticed that a lot of them had the trine, right? To bring stuff down to Earth, or that's how I'm thinking about it in my mind. So from there, and after looking at all of that, I started, as I was pulling the charts, I started, I had them all saved. So I went back through all of these charts and wanted to see how many people had a trine to the GC or a sextile to the galactic anticenter. How many people that answered the questionnaire had this? Now, let's also keep in mind that I knew that this percentage was going to be higher, because essentially when you're looking at this, you can have a trine to the GC fall somewhere between 16 degrees Leo and 6 degrees Virgo, or 16 degrees Aries to 6 degrees Taurus. So there's the orb might be kind of wide. I'm going to stick with it for now because I think it's better to go wider at first, cast a wider net. In time, this might be brought in some, but for right now, I'm going to keep it how it is. But because you're talking about two areas of the chart, the chances that somebody's going to have something trine is higher. You know, I mean, not everybody did, but it did come in at 89% of the charts that I was looking at, of the charts of the people that participated in the questionnaire. 89% did have something trine the GC. Now, that something is interesting also, because I feel like I need to break these up into camps. And by that I mean, okay, so there are people that actually have planets, and I haven't done the percentages on this yet, but there are people that actually have planets trine the GC. And then there were people that had things like Chiron or the north or south nodes, or a major angle trine the GC. Now, I do think that planets trine the GC probably are the most important, because we're dealing with the planet. Or Chiron even. Chiron is not a planet, it's an asteroid, but because it's an actual tangible thing, it's a physical body. I feel like Chiron might even be more what's the word I'm looking for? It gives a better funneling, if you will, funneling of the energy to bring it down to Earth, since it's an actual planet, or an actual asteroid, an actual physical body. Something about that feels like the translation, the funneling of the energy would be, I don't want to say easier, because again, I don't think that any of this is particularly easy, but the flow of the energy and then being able to come through a planet or an asteroid, major asteroid, not some random ass asteroid, but a major one. It does seem like that funneling of energy and coming through something that actually exists would somehow make it more clear. Whereas the angles, right, or the cardinal points, or the personal sense of points, or whatever you want to call them, they're not real tangible things in the sky, right? The ascendant, descendant, midheaven, and IC are not tangible bodies. So, and you know, the north and south nodes aren't tangible either. Important, but not tangible. So I feel like it does need to be broken up into camps of people. That is probably my next step to take here. And also looking at, okay, so let's say somebody has their midheaven. Their midheaven is in their midheaven's in Aries. It's trine the GC, and their Mars happens to be conjunct the GC. Let's just use that for instance, or conjunct the galactic anticenter. In that case, that midheaven feels like it might be more important, or have a more clear kind of funneling, if you will, because the planetary ruler of the midheaven happens to be involved in the axis. Though at the same time, I could also see this making it more difficult to funnel. I got to think about that a little bit, because I actually could see it going that way too. Now what so yeah, I'm going to break them up into camps of people that actually have a planet trine the GC and Chiron trine the GC, versus people that have, or not verse, but you know what I mean, it's not like against one another, but, or somebody, or the people that have the north and south nodes, trine the GC and one of the cardinal points. I think that's probably my next step to take as far as that goes. Now, what I'm very interested about is, I can't remember exactly how many, it was 5 or 6. 5 or 6 people did not have anything trine the GC, but yet they had the conjunctions to the GC. In some cases, I think a couple of the people had conjunctions and oppositions to the GC, but no trine. And then a couple of the people only had the conjunction to the GC, but no trine. And this gets me thinking, because I do feel like the trine, whatever planet or Chiron or whatever is trine, is a way for the energy to be brought down to Earth. It's also a place that I think is probably grounded for the Galactic Center, because I've talked about the Galactic Center being like a lightning rod. I think the sextile to the Galactic Center, or the trine to the Galactic Center, is like the grounding there for that. So what happens when you don't have that? I feel like that's difficult. That would be difficult if you had no grounding. You have conjunctions. You have a conjunction to the Galactic Center. You have even just the people that just have the conjunctions to the Galactic Center. I do think it might be a little bit more difficult for those that have conjunctions to the Galactic Center and conjunctions to the Galactic Center, and they have no grounding. That almost feels like it might be slightly harder. But it seems like it would be hard even for people that have the conjunctions to just the Galactic Center, and they have, because either way, the Galactic Center, I still think is going to get shocked, right? It's still going to get shocked in this kind of lightning strike kind of way. So if you don't have anything in that trine, right, where that trine would be or sextile would be, how do you ground it? I know there's got to be a way. I'm sure there is. But it does feel like it would be difficult for those people. Like the energy might be difficult, or like they might not really know what to do with it or how to utilize it. Like there's just no clear funnel for them to bring it down to Earth or use it to their benefit. I'm gonna have to think about that some more. But I do think it's interesting that I'm just very curious about the 5 or 6 people that did not have that. So y'all might be, y'all might not even know who you are, because like I said, the trines were never really originally included in this, but y'all might be hearing from me, because I am curious about that. Because I do feel like the trine is probably a big piece here. But anyway, I'm going to get going. So if you want to follow us on Instagram, you can follow us at Let's Fuck With Astrology. I am at Saturn Season Astrology on Instagram. Natalie is at Paternal Astrology on Instagram. If you want to subscribe and like videos, all kinds of shit on YouTube. Damn, that's loud. Search for us at Let's Fuck With Astrology by searching that in the YouTube search bar. If you do the Reddit thing, come join us on the subreddit Let's Fuck With Astrology. And if you're interested in the star cards, go to letsfuckwithastrology.com/star-cards. Okay, y'all. I'll see y'all later.